All right, well, now that we know what an irrational number is, all right, remember an irrational number is when we try to take the square root of 63, which we know the square root of 64 is 8, which is a nice, neat, rational number, but this is going to give us some decimal in the form of like 7.834, and it's just going to keep going and going and going. It's never going to terminate. It's never going to repeat. Therefore, it is an irrational number. Okay? So, what we want to do then is we would like to compare irrational numbers, and to do that, we need to be able to estimate the value of a rational number. So let's try to estimate the value of the square root of 57, of radical 57. Well, the first thing I like to do is find the two perfect squares that radical 57 lies between. All right? And I know that 57 is between 49 and 64. Why did I choose the square root of 49? Because that's 7. Why did I choose the square root of 64? Because that's 8. And so I know that the square root of 57 has to be somewhere between 7 and 8. Is it closer to 7 or closer to 8 is my next question. Well, let's see. That's a difference. It takes 49 plus 8 to get to 57, and it takes 57 plus 7 to get to 64, so it's actually a little bit closer to 64 than it is to 49, and so I could really say, well, it's 7.564 or 7.6. Those would be decent estimations of radical 57. If I really want to get picky, or I could say, well, it's 7 and it's 8 away from the 49, and this is a total span of how much? From 49 to 64 is 15. I did not mean to put a decimal there. It's 7 and 8/15, which if we made that a fraction, let's see, 8/15 is going to be, let me get my calculator up here, 8 divided by 15 is, 7.53. Now it says 3 repeating, but we know that this is not a rational number, all right, and repeating decimals are rational. This is just giving us a good estimation of what that is, all right? So I can estimate the value of irrational numbers. And when I say estimate, I mean I'm going to round off and I'm going to get, pretty much in the right area, all right? So then, can you tell me what two consecutive integers does radical 55 lie between? Well, do you know what integers are? Remember, integers are the positive and negative whole numbers, and we include 0. All right? And so I want to know which of these numbers, we could almost picture this like a number line. Yeah. What two nice, neat whole numbers on the number line is radical 55 between? Well, if you paid any attention to the page that we just came from, you know that it's between 7 and 8, because the square root of 49 is 7 and the square root of 64 is 8. It's got to be between 7 and 8, which is out here on the number line. All right? What about the square root of 13? What two consecutive integers is it between? Well, square root of 16 is a nice, neat, perfect square, isn't it? And the square root of 9 is a nice, neat, perfect square, and 13 is between 9 and 16. So that's got to be between 3 and 4 then, doesn't it? All right? That's how we estimate or find what two integers an irrational number might be between. Can you compare a number and an irrational number? All right? Well, I think I can if I can estimate the value of radical 15. And I think I can do that because the square root of 16 is 4. That means that the square root of 15 has got to be very close to that. I'll just say 3.847, and I know it keeps on going. And so to compare this number and this number, I would literally say, well, 3.4 has to be less than the square root of 15, doesn't it? How about this? Could I say the square root of 15 is greater than 3.4? Yeah, either one of those are good answers or correct statements. Okay? And the last thing they're going to want you to do in this section is to estimate the value of an expression that includes an irrational number. Radical 20 is irrational, isn't it? Yes, because I know that the square root of 25 is 5, and I know that the square root of 16 is 4. It's 5 away from here, it's 4 away from there, it's just a little bit closer to 16, isn't it? So what's a good estimation? Well, probably 4.32. All right? And so this problem is really 4 plus 4.432, which is going to give me 8.432. All right? Estimating the value just means you have to estimate this irrational and then follow the order of operations. All right? Good luck.